Welcome back to the Manc Entrepreneur YouTube channel, and in today's episode I want to talk with you about what is most likely the number one reason why you are not achieving what you want. You see, the problem is that the world is now smaller than it's ever been before. It's so easy to get an insight into other people's lives and to keep track of what other people are doing. That relative in Australia who, your parents maybe got to see twice a year and kept in touch via letters and the occasional phone call at Christmas, you now have them on Facebook and you get to see what they're having for dinner every single day. The world is a much smaller place and you get an insight into people's lives which we've never had before. I talk about my problem with social media and depression, certainly in this video up here. The link is at the top. Check it out if you haven't seen it already. But the problem amongst young entrepreneurs especially is that it's never been easier, again, for people like me to create content and put it out there. Like this video you're watching right now. It's never been easier right now for people to share content and try and share value with the world. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm never even going to try and mention in the same breath as myself the likes of Richard Branson, Gary Vaynerchuk, Mark Zuckerberg, Grant Cardone, any of those guys. They are the next level. They are the people that I'm aspiring to be. My audience is not people on my level. My audience is basically me 5 to 10 years ago. I'm trying to help the young people get started. And, for those people looking up to Grant and Gary and Mark Zuckerberg, it may seem unachievable to get to that level. They've set the bar so high. And that's the problem amongst young entrepreneurs, is that they are looking, due to this world we live in where we get an insight into everybody's lives. Gary Vaynerchuk, Grant Cardone, you can follow their Instagram and their Facebook and whatever else and their YouTube channels, and you get an insight into their life, but you also get to hear what they say. And too many people try and be like those people. And if you're naturally like that, there's nothing wrong with that. If you are literally the next Gary Vaynerchuk, then you are going to crush it no matter what. The problem is when you don't realize your own strengths, when you're not being true to yourself in terms of what you are good at and what you are not good at and what you want and what you don't want. Well, Gary said in a video recently that, he never took a day off in his 20s. I immediately cannot be like Gary Vaynerchuk for that reason. Because I'm still in my 20s, but I have taken days off. I took a few days off to go to Berlin. That wasn't, largely work related. So I'm already losing in that front. If I was going to compare myself to Gary, that he's winning. And if that's the measure that we're using, he's winning. But he's winning in how to be Gary Vaynerchuk. I don't want to be Gary Vaynerchuk. I want to be me. Yes, that might mean that Gary aspires to buy the New York Jets. I don't aspire to buy the New York Jets. I couldn't give a shit about the New York Jets. But that's the difference, is that we're two different people. I know what I want in life, and I know what I'm good at and what my interests are. And Gary knows what his are, and Richard Branson knows what his are, and Mark Zuckerberg knows what his are. The problem with the young entrepreneurs is that they want that lifestyle, and they see Gary and his lifestyle, and Grant Cardone and with his plane and everything else, and Richard Branson with his island, and like, oh, I'd like an island. Wouldn't we all like an island? The difference is you want it without necessarily putting the work in. You see the end product. You see Richard Branson now on Necker Island, and you see Grant Cardone with his private jet and his Rolls Royce, and you think, yeah, I want some of that. What you don't see is the 20, 30 years that it's taken them plus to get that. Gary Vaynerchuk again famously says, you didn't hear from me in my 20s because I was busy working and I was busy learning. And yeah, whilst, it's much easier now to create an audience and to put stuff out there, ultimately, you can't skip that step. You can't skip the step of learning, of making mistakes, of trying so hard to build something that no one's ever, you're not just going to be able to afford an island one day or afford a Rolls Royce. You have to work for it. And you can't just put yourself out there as an expert if you've never actually done anything. The problem is basically aspiration. You're aspiring to be someone else. Those people are not you, and you are not them, for that very good reason. Everybody's different, and ultimately you need to know your own strengths and play on them. People like Gary Vaynerchuk are the extreme. The majority of people in their 20s are going to have a lot of free time. They're going to spend their time saving up and going to Vegas, or going out every weekend to parties and everything else. Now, I didn't do that. I spent a large portion of my 20s working, learning what I did. Whenever, even in the breaks between whilst I was at university, those summer holidays, I always had a full-time job. I didn't go to festivals, I didn't party, I didn't do that. Yeah, sure, I had the odd weekend where I might do something. If it was a friend's birthday or my birthday, we'd go out. But that's pretty much the same as it is now. I've always worked full time. I'm not a normal case. Most people in their 20s are going to spend their time going out, getting drunk, trying to hook up with women, and that's all well and good if that's what they want to do. Ultimately, that wasn't what I wanted to do. Gary takes it a step further, saying he never had a day off in his 20s, and he even says, like, he would now, knowing where he's at, he'd turn around to his 20-year-old self and just go to fucking Vegas once and enjoy yourself. But these are the lengths that you go to, and like I said, I'm nowhere near that extreme. Yeah, I work more than what most people would consider reasonable in their 20s, but that's why I'm able to do this now. I know people who are coming up to their 30s and they have no idea what they want to do in life, which is fine. You've still got so much time, but ultimately be true to yourself. You can't live that partying lifestyle and then aspire to be Gary Vaynerchuk, because the numbers don't add up. You're not putting the effort in to get that reward. You have to be true to yourself. You have to know yourself. You have to realize that your actions equal your outcome. If I enjoy working, I enjoy what I do. So for me, it doesn't feel like work. But if you don't enjoy what you do, it does feel like work. And then ultimately, you're going to need to blow out big time and, payday weekend go crazy. You're not going to be the next big thing in your industry by taking that attitude. And if you don't want to be, that's great. You've already won. The key is happiness. Know what you want. Don't look to other people's happiness as a sign for what your happiness is. Could I do what Gary Vaynerchuk does and literally work all day, every day, for years? No, I couldn't do it. I need time away. I need to have a break. As much as I love what I do, it does get exhausting sometimes. I'm just not wired that way. But I know that, and that's fine. I'm not trying to be Gary Vaynerchuk. I think if you're watching this right now and you're young and you watch Gary's YouTube channels, or you watch Stephen Bartlett, who again is another young entrepreneur here in Manchester, or you aspire to be like Richard Branson or Mark Zuckerberg or whoever, Elon Musk, you have to realise there's a difference between admiration and aspiration. You can admire what they do and you can utilise it for motivation, but don't aspire to be them, because it's unrealistic and it's only setting you up for failure. If you're watching this, you have to be the best you that you can be. You have to be the best. I have to be the best Manc entrepreneur. Matt has to be the best Matt. Richard has to be the best Richard. And that is how you win. All of those people, Mark Zuckerberg, Gary Vaynerchuk, Grant Cardone, Richard Branson, Elon Musk, whoever else, they got to where they are by being themselves. You're not going to get to where you need to be by being someone else. So be true to who you are, acknowledge your strengths, work on your weaknesses, but acknowledge them too, because that is just as important as knowing your strengths. If you think a weakness of yours is, distraction and procrastination, acknowledge it, and then you can start working around it and finding ways to lower that in your life and focus on your strengths. Stop aspiring to be like others, admire them by all means, but utilize what they are teaching you to be the best you that you can be. And that's how you're going to win. I hope you found this video useful. If you have, hit that like rating. Subscribe if you are new. There's new videos every single weekday. And with that said, enjoy the rest of your day. Go and crush it and go and be the best at being you and keep putting that little bit extra into the ordinary. I'll catch you in the next video. Thank you for watching.